Hi everyone and welcome to Club 1 episode 14 and the beginning of season 3 for Rolling in the Isles, a British Isles journeyman series on FM20 with me, the United City FM. So in the end, if you join me for the last episode, the end of season 2, you can remember maybe that I wasn't totally clear as to where I would be in terms of which club I would be at the beginning of this season. I wasn't sure whether to sort of stick or twist, as it were. In the end, I decided to stick. The other options weren't as good as I would have wanted, and I think that we've had a good enough transfer window to potentially survive in the Irish Premier Division, having been promoted through winning the Irish First Division last season. So I remain at Cobb Ramblers, and that's the team that we're going to have a good go at the Premier League, the Premier Division with this coming season. So I have done some transfer business. I haven't really spent any money because we didn't have a transfer budget, but we've done some wheeling dealing in the sort of free transfer market, so we'll have a look at that in a second. Just before that, you can see that we've had a decent enough friendly series of friendly matches for pre-season, 3 wins and a loss when we've played Cork City, Dundalk, Janesborough and Middleton, so it wasn't too bad as a way of getting everybody fit and playing some good games in the pre-season. Financially speaking, I still think we're struggling a little bit. We haven't spent any money in terms of budget. We've still got 3k left in terms of our available wage budget. The transfer window is now closed, so that won't change, but I still think that you'll see a downward spiral in the finances. It's hard to make a profit in this sort of area of the football, and I think that ultimately, even with potentially some more gate receipts from the Premier Division's higher clubs, I still think we might struggle financially, but it's worth keeping an eye on that as we progress through this season. The season in Ireland runs from February till about October, November time, so it's a bit of an odd start date if you are not used to that. So we sit on the 12th of February, just about to play our first game in the Premier Division against St Patrick's Athletic, which we'll get to in a minute. But before that, let's go and have a look at what we did do in the transfer market. So I released a few youngsters on loan from our under-19s. I released a couple of our squad from last season on free transfers, etc. We didn't make any money from anything. It's not the area that we're able to do that in at the moment. But we did bring in some loan players for the first time and a couple of free transfers that have signed for us. So let's go through what we've managed to do. So the first one is a guy called Enda Curran, and Enda Curran is Irish and he's 28 years old, and he's a 4.5-star rated striker for us. And he's got a real upgrade in the quality of our strikers. Our strikers were not the problem last season, and we've still got most of them with us from last season, the likes of Dunn and who else did we have? Dolan and the like, and Murphy was the other one. So those 3 are still with us, with Cronin as well. But this guy, Enda Curran, has come in and will play as our sort of main number 9 in our front 2. And he's got some decent attributes about him. So obviously finishing is decent. Composure I'd like a little bit more, but not too bad. Physicals are okay. Mentals are pretty good, aren't they? There's some good off the ball, anticipation, those sorts of things. Good penalty taking. Overall, he's an upgrade on what we have. We're paying him a reasonable amount of money in terms of his contract. He's expecting to be a star player for us. I'm expecting him to score goals for us. He's got 1 in 2 in the pre-season friendlies. And so Enda Curran has come in to add something to our attacking line. The next player in, first of our loan players, is Stephen Best, and we bought him in from Waterford, and he plays as a central defender, and again is a sensational upgrade on what we've got previously at the club in terms of our central defenders. Heading 13, tackling 12, determination 15, good jumping reach, positioning could be better, but he's only 23, might improve a little bit here and there. A reasonable passing ability just to get the ball out from our defensive area. Good work rate, so I think he's a really good upgrade again on our central defence, and he will play in our first team 11 this season. Stephen Best. Next one, Alexander Spalek. He's come in as a 17-year-old Polish guy. He's going to be our what would I want to call him? Our alternate playmaker in midfield, let's call him. So he's not going to be a regular starter early in the season until he finds his feet, but you can see he's got a little bit about him. Physicals, not brilliant, but he's got good determination, good first touch, good passing, good technique, good work rate. So hopefully those will help him to be able to achieve something with us in the season. We've got him from Sligo Rangers, so Sligo Rovers, sorry. He comes in as an option in central midfield. The next one on the list is Mark Hanratty, and we brought him in from Dundalk, and he's going to be an option down our left-hand side. He's going to play as an alternate to Shane Power in the attacking left-sided winger role. And you can see, again, he's got some gaps that we would have liked a bit better from, especially here in some of his technical stats. You can see they're not brilliant, but he's got enough about him to get up and down the pitch, good work rate, good pace, good agility and natural fitness. And once he's up the attacking end of the pitch, then he's got a decent amount of passing and a decent amount of crossing. So I'm hoping that those key attributes will help him to be able to add some creative firepower down that left-hand side and get some decent crosses in for our strikers to latch onto. So he's going to be an option down that left-hand side. So that's Mark Hanratty, brought in from Dundalk. The next one in from Shelbourne is Flavio Marcu, should I say, and he's another central defender. And whilst not got the best attributes in terms of his actual defending abilities, we needed bodies in that area. I felt we just needed a couple more options, and he's got some good mental stats, mental attributes, some good physical attributes, and I think overall will provide cover for the central defensive role. So he may not play regularly, but he'll get enough games here and there, I hope. And he's only 21, and so hopefully he'll improve, and he's from Albania. So that's the next one on the list. And the final one on the list is our first choice starting midfielder. Remember that Spalek was brought in as an option. This guy will come in. He came in on a free transfer, so he's our player, Mohamed Sangair. And he's come in and will be our main starting central midfielder in terms of trying to be a creative force for us. And again, he's quite, he's reasonably like Spalek in terms of he's got really good passing, good technique, good first touch, a little bit of pace about him, which is good, some good leadership, which we're lacking a little bit of aggression in there. And overall, I think that asking him to play that sort of central midfield role, I think he can offer us something. And he's a 4.5-star player up to a 5-star potential ability, and that's way in advancement of what we've had previously. So those are the guys that we've brought in. You can see we got rid of some on loan from our youth setup. So what does that mean in terms of our tactical shape, etc.? Well, we're going to remain playing in the same way that we did last season. Why change it if it's not broke in that sense at this point? So we're going to stay in our 4-4-2 with the attacking left-sided push slightly further on than the right, with our two guys up top. And you can see that whilst other than Cronin, who's picked up an injury and is out for a couple of days, everybody else is fit for the beginning of the season. So we're able to put out whatever starting lineup I wanted. And this, at this moment, obviously it's not set in stone, and other players can break into this first 11. But this is planned to be my first 11 for the opening part of the season, just to see how we get going. The other thing I should have mentioned, sorry about that, is that we did have one that I bought in last season's budget, but didn't actually join the club until this pre-season, and that's Dooney, Ryan Dooney. We needed a new right back because Carlos Edwards retired at the age of 42, and this is the guy that I replaced him with. Ryan Dooney came in, and I think he's going to be okay for us. I think he's got some good physical attributes about him. There's some good leadership in there and work rate, which is positive. I'm hoping that he'll be able to get us a little bit of experience into our side that we lost because Carlos Edwards is gone. And so he's the main right-sided fullback option, but he'll have to be on his game to keep Fleming out the side. Now, Fleming may not look the best in terms of technicals, but his physical attributes and a couple of mental attributes make up for that a little bit. And so he's the other option that we have down that right-hand side of the defensive area. So it's an interesting one. If you're not used to lower league stuff, then some of these players will look as though they've got nothing to contribute potentially. But what you've got to look for is those really key attributes. And so, for example, Buckley is one of our other central midfielders, and he's got good determination, good concentration, bit of aggression, but also a decent enough pass on him. And so those are the key attributes that he's got, and so he can hopefully still perform for us. Dunn remains one of our first choice strikers this season as well. You can see that his mental attributes aren't brilliant, but he's got decent determination, but he's got a decent finishing and heading attribute and a little bit of pace about him, some good acceleration. So those are the things that carry him through at this level. So if you're unfamiliar with lower league stuff, then I can assure you that whilst we may not be challenging for anything this season and we may well be in a relegation battle, well, all I would say is that there's enough in there, I hope, that we'll be able to perform reasonably well and not look overawed by the time that the end of the season shows up. So I'm just going to rearrange my substitute bench because I've been playing friendly matches, and then we'll talk through the actual team that we're going to put out for today. So that's my substitute bench sorted as well. Sorry, I had failed to see that I hadn't done that before we started this episode, but so I can now talk you through the first team for this coming season. And so the first team that's going to play St Patrick's Athletic is going to be Hunt in goal, Dooney at right back, Taylor at left back, O'Riordan and Best in central defence, Buckley and Sangaire in central midfield with Turner on the right, Power on the left, Dunn and Curran up top, with a substitute bench of McSweeney, Fleming, Hurley, Spalek, O'Driscoll, Hanratty and Murphy. So let's get into the first game of the season. Let's hope we get off to a good start and see what happens. So in terms of team talk for this particular match, I've calmly suggested to the players that we're underdogs here and that suits us down to the ground. Let's go and cause an upset. St Patrick's Athletic play a 4-4-2, a bit like we do, but they're playing a flat midfield rather than we've got an attacking left-sided option. So let's go into the kick-off and see how we cope in our first game in the Premier Division of Ireland. So we're at home, which is really positive. Good place for us to start. Hopefully the home support can gee us on a little bit and we get the first opportunity of a highlight. Power down the left-hand side up to Dunn, pokes it through, but his attacking partner didn't quite read that and was on his heels a bit and didn't get to the ball. So the goalkeeper clears it, but we pick it up in defence through midfield, back up to Dunn again. Tries to send it out wide right, but it's intercepted. Poor pass, wasn't it, really? They attempt to get a through ball and bad defensive cover there, I think, from the new guy, Best, who attempted it to poke it back to the goalkeeper but got intercepted and we were a bit lucky. The free kick comes in down our right hand side, but the resulting header goes over the top of the bar, and it's been quite a lively opening in the first 6 minutes. Turner again with another free kick on the left hand side. Cross comes in and there's Curran at the back post. If there's no offside there's a debut goal for Curran on his first opportunity for Cobb Ramblers. So good free kick comes in to the centre of the box, Best with a header on, and it's Curran who reacts to that at the far post and pokes it home. Is there an offside? There isn't an offside at that point. Is there an offside there? I don't think so, and we do go one up. That's VAR for you. Takes away all the joy of celebrating, doesn't it, until they've done their checks. But we do go one up, and that's a really encouraging start early on in this first game. Turner again down the right-hand side off the goal kick. Buckley through to Dunn. Plenty of space, and he pokes the ball home. Nice open move, that. Good from the goalkeeper to find Turner down this right-hand side, who controls the ball very, very nicely. Waits for a couple of runners. Buckley from midfield moves forward onto Dunn. Plenty of space, nobody challenging him, and he puts the ball home very nicely. And we go 2-0 up after 12 minutes. This is totally unexpected, really. Having said that, I don't know, is it? I don't know. I didn't know what to expect, really, from this particular game in the first of our Premier Division matches. There's an opportunity for St Patrick's Athletic to get one back from Forrester. Very good free kick, although I'm a little bit disappointed with the handling of the goalkeeper, personally. I think he could have done a little bit better than that. It was hardly in one of the top corners away from him, was it really? And I think that goes down to a bit of a goalkeeping error, unfortunately. We do have a couple of weaker spots in our team still, but that's just the way it is at this level. We get a good clearance there. Turner runs on to the good cleared ball. And can he get a cross in? He can. He finds Curran on that far side, and Curran gets another header in. And it's Turner lighting up the place again, as he did last season for us in our promotion push, if you remember. He was a real good creative influence for us down this right-hand side. And again, runs onto the ball, controls it very nicely, waits for his man to be in position, and then puts it right on the head of Curran, who gets an easy enough job to head it home for a 3-1 lead after 20-odd minutes. It's a bit of a goal fest, isn't it, on the opening day of the season? But I'll happily take that as long as we remain ahead in the goal the goal scoring. And again, we intercept the ball in midfield. Curran comes away with it, but they get a foot in. But again, we regain possession defensively. Very good over the top ball over the top for Dunn to run onto, but powers it straight at the goalkeeper, and Smith gathers it comfortably. But again, a good move. It's just finding that right finish at the end of it. Whoa! There's a real launch of a goal, wasn't it, really? From their goalkeeper, he launches the ball, and defensively we weren't able to cope with the long ball. Here we go with Smith. He makes the decision to go long, and Macaulay, fabulous run, and then takes the ball early on the top of the penalty box, where maybe you'd expect him to drive into the box a little bit. Caught everybody by surprise, and it's currently 3-2 after half an hour. Turner with the free kick for us. The highlights keep coming. Good save that time by Smith. Decent enough from Turner, but not quite into the top corners. A loose ball gets cleared comfortably, and we should have done better there, shouldn't we? Curran with the first attempt, and the second attempt was just slightly fluffed, wasn't it? And it went wide for pretty much an open goal. Turner with the free kick to the far post, and Dunn on the header, but he puts it wide of the post and doesn't try and challenge the goalkeeper at that point. St Patrick's Athletic with a decent chance here, and Forrester, wow, powers the ball home, and they've gathered it back up to 3-3, and it's almost like starting again in the second half at this point, if this is how it's going to end in the first half. A little bit disappointing, isn't it, really, to lose so many goals. There's a good header by Macaulay to find Forrester, and on the half volley, he absolutely powers that ball home, doesn't he, really? Nice goal, but a little bit defensively slack, let's say. A bit disappointing. Again, they've got plenty of space, and again, they power the ball home, and will the goal scoring ever stop? And unfortunately, such a positive first half is ending in a bit of disappointment, really, as we now go 4-3 down in this very first game in the Premier Division of Ireland for this third season. Again, Hunt got a hand to the ball, but couldn't quite keep it out. And I think that that's another slight goalkeeping error, really, that if you get your hand to the ball in that kind of context, you'd hope that he'd be able to parry it around the post or something. But look at that for a goal-scoring first half. 4-3 to St Patrick's Athletic. I'm disappointed that we let so many goals in, but I'm happy that we're still in the game just about. So what are we going to do for this second half? I could tell them that they're disappointing, maybe, but it's hard to judge at this point in a new season and a new league, isn't it? Really. Let's go this one and see if we can encourage them a little bit. Calmly say, to be honest, lads, I'm not sure how we're not winning this match. You're playing very well. And only one of them was unhappy with that, which I'll take, because it was a confusing first half, really, wasn't it? And they could have reacted in any way. Let's hope for a slightly quieter second half, maybe, but a couple of opportunities for us will do it. Dooney down the right-hand side with a free kick. O'Riordan goes back to Hunt in goal, and he gets the time to clear the ball, which he does, into midfield, but we lose the ball in midfield, and they counter on us very quickly. McCabe on the ball, sends it wide right, but Power with a brilliant interception and runs at their fullback onto Curran. Had a perfect opportunity to slide the ball past the goalkeeper, but strikes it at the goalkeeper and eventually they clear it. O'Riordan for us again with a free kick in our defensive area onto Dunn. A loose ball in midfield. Can we regather it? We do from Best in the defensive area. Power with the ball. Again over the top to Curran. Can he do better this time? No. Again, he strikes it straight at the goalkeeper and Smith uses his feet to parry the ball round for a corner kick. But it's our corner kick from Turner into the near post, but nobody's there. Can we pick up the loose ball again with Turner? He lets it run off for a throw-in. And we get that throw in down the right hand side. So again, we're getting some good opportunities. You can see that we're in the game very nicely, but we've got to take those chances. And a couple of occasions there, Curran had a couple of really good chances to strike at goal and just hit it straight at the goalkeeper. Curran picks up the ball onto Sangaré, who drives forward this time. Power on the left hand side. Can he get the cross in? The cross is blocked and they come away with the ball. Madden with the long ball over the top, but no one was there. Best picks it up for us, but again we lose the ball, and it's a little bit like that. Nobody's keeping hold of the ball well enough. Very good interception, I think possibly by Best there, I couldn't quite tell, but a really good interception from the defender, and it goes out for a corner kick for St Patrick's Athletic, and the corner kick comes into the near post. It's partially cleared back out to the original taker and goes in again for McCabe to strike the ball very fiercely in that central area of the penalty box, and we go 5-3 down. And whilst it has been a little bit quieter, it shows you in this second half that we needed at least one of those current opportunities to be put away. And because we didn't manage that, we're now finding ourselves in a little bit of trouble, really. So we're going to see what differences that we can make through some substitutions in a second after this highlight. There was a good opportunity for a far post header there, but it wasn't quite met. So apparently Paul Hunt is disenchanted. Well, thanks very much for that, but I would expect you to play better, whatever your feelings are. He's been a bit random in terms of sometimes he's happy, sometimes he's not, and at the moment he may seem not to be, but there's not much I can do about that, having closed the transfer window. So we've got some defensive issues in terms of the ratings for our players. So we're going to take off Dooney and bring on Fleming, and we're going to take off O'Riordan and bring on McSweeney, and change those two, and then look further forward, and we've got Sangaré here that's come into our first team and isn't setting the place alight today, is he? So we're going to take him off and bring the youngster Spalek on for his debut to see if he can use his sort of exuberant youth to gain us something in that central midfield. A bit of, maybe less fearful of the occasion because he's so young. Let's hope that we get at least one opportunity to show that we can put the ball away again, though, before the end of this game. But the time is ticking by. It looks like we're going to run out of time for this particular match. I can't really tell at this point whether I'm disappointed or... Well, I am disappointed, of course I am. We lost the game, but how disappointed I am, because I don't know what this season is going to bring. I don't know how good a team St Patrick's Athletic was compared to some of the others. I suspect they're probably not quite as good as some of the others. So we might be in for a bit of a tough season, but at this point I don't want to go overly harsh on them. Let's go for this one. I can't fault your effort. Nobody expected us to win, but you gave it everything, and that delighted them, and hopefully that gets them some encouragement and some motivation for the next game or so. And we'll come out and just check in with the tables and find that we're in that core group of teams at the bottom that lost their opening game. But one of those is Bohemians, and they won this division last season. So you can see that, it's not as straightforward as one game and we're done. We've got plenty to play, and I think we play each of these sides 4 times maybe, so maybe 36 games in total, something like that. We'll check in with the rules as we go along a little bit of this particular division. But there we go, a real goal fest for the opening game. Unfortunately, we were on the wrong end of the scoreline in the end, a 5-3 defeat at home to St Patrick's Athletic. But ultimately, it's a new season, a new division. Difficult to see how we're going to pan out in this particular division at this point. So we'll sort of take the positives out of it and try and forget the negatives and move forward. So what we're going to do, we're going to come back in a few games' time as we settle into this division. And I think we're going to come back in the early part of March and maybe play Waterford and see how we've got on in the games in between then and now. So that means that off camera I'll be playing Derry City, Dundalk and Bohemians, and we'll see whether we can get any points from that. But that'll do it for today. Brand new series, disappointing result in the end, but it's going to be a hard season throughout, I would suggest. If you're enjoying the series so far, why not subscribe to the channel, keep up to date with videos. If you enjoyed this particular episode, why not click a like on it for me, help me get seen by other people. It's really important for the growth of my channel. If you're playing Football Manager yourself, let me know how you're getting on in the comments below. But until next time, take care of yourselves, I will see you soon, and bye for now.